Hello, everybody. Good Bohorquez from Canada. And it is going to be a great night tonight. I have a really great topic for you today. It is the gut health connection. And this is something that has been talked about for the last years. I'm not going to say a few years because I've been talking about it for at least eight. So it is a really, really important topic. So if you are here and you are still kind of wondering what is the gut health connection, you are in for a treat. And I hope to give you dessert and cherry on the top with this talk because it really is one of my favorite topics. So with that, let me tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, while I prepare this slideshow, my name is Claudia, like I said, and I live in Canada. And when did I start getting really excited about the gut health topic was when our company For Life launched the new probiotic. So I've been in For Life for 13 years as a customer, 10 years as an affiliate, sharing with others what For Life had done for me. And I had no idea what probiotics were. I never used to have probiotics. I did not eat probiotic food. I had no idea anything about this topic. However, we used to have a product called probiotics, and somebody told me it was really good, so I started taking it. But then in 2017, we launched our prebiotics, and I had the opportunity to be mentored by the person that actually had made our probiotics in the company. He was one of the scientists and he mentored me and taught me about microbiome. Up until that moment, I had no idea what microbiome was. We used to call it flora in Spanish. And so I kind of knew something about flora, which is not a term that we actually use that much anymore. People still associate it, but the new term is really microbiota or microbiome. And so I hope to give you a few, even if it's five things you can learn from what I have to share. I'd be happy if you can, go home and take with you five things that you can learn today. So let me tell you 10 facts about microbiome. So first of all, this is one of the things that amaze me the most, and is that we are actually more microbes than cells. So there are 10 times the number of microbial cells in the human gut than in the whole body. That's the first thing. So just the gut holds 10 times the number of microbial cells. So that's number one. Let's look at the next one. Gut bacteria are involved in harvesting energy from food, balancing the good versus the bacterial composition and metabolic functions. Now, what you eat, your diet, plays a big role. The gut microbiome of urban populations is less diverse than people from rural and less developed populations. So they've done a lot of studies, and microbiomes change depending on where you are born and where you grow up. So people from Africa have a completely microbiome than people in North America. Fibers, including food-based resistant starch, are some of the key nutrients for promoting fermentation and ensuring a diverse microbiome. And another one, gut microbiota differs in obese versus lean individuals, but the significance of these differences is not yet understood. So let's talk a little bit about the work of nutrition. So how does the role of nutrition play in this? The term, I got butterflies in my stomach. These sensations emanating from your belly suggest that your brain and your gut are connected. So sometimes you get an emotion and that emotion gives you like a belly ache. So you're like, oh, I'm scared or I'm excited. And then you actually feel it in your gut. So what's more recent studies show that brain affects your gut, and your gut may have an effect on your brain. The communication system between your gut and your brain is called the gut-brain axis. There's a lot of material from a lot of doctors. Dr. Ronnie talks a lot about this, but I also like Dr. Hyman. So I recommend that if you don't know a lot about this topic, go to people that are known for this. So obviously, I will always promote Dr. Ronnie first, but one of her very good friends, Dr. Hyman, was my favorite doctor before she became my favorite naturopathic doctor. The vagus nerve and the nervous system. So neurons are cells found in your brain and central nervous system that tell your body how to behave. There are approximately 100 billion neurons in the human brain. Interestingly, your gut contains 500 million neurons, which are connected to your brain through your nerves in your nervous system. So I just want you to think of that, like 100 billion neurons in your brain and 500 million that are connected from the gut to the brain through the nervous system. Isn't that incredible? Just that alone for me is like, how is our body working? The vagus nerve, which is a nerve that runs, right? If you Google it, it actually runs from your brain to your gut. The vagus nerve is one of the biggest nerves connecting your gut and brain, and it sends signals in both directions. So this is the vagus nerve. I like this picture I chose because it just shows me exactly, it's like that long, long nerve from the brain to the gut. So, for example, in animal studies, stress inhibits the signal sent through the vagus nerve and also causes gastrointestinal problems. Similarly, one study in humans found that people with IBS, that's irritable bowel syndrome, or Crohn's disease, had reduced vagal tone, indicating a reduced function of that nerve, the vagus nerve. An interesting study in mice found that feeding them a probiotic reduced the amount of stress hormone in their blood. However, when their vagus nerve was cut, the probiotic had no effect. So this suggests that the vagus nerve is important in the gut-brain axis and its role in stress. So the talk tonight, I will talk a little bit about probiotics, but I'm not concentrating just on prebio at the end. I will talk a little bit, but I have other talks specifically on prebiotics and microbiome. Today, I'm focusing a little more on the emotional part of that connection from the brain to your gut, okay? And that's why I chose this next slide, which is the neurotransmitters. So your brain is really very incredible. It's what causes, so many things. It causes you to be happy and be sad. It controls everything through neurotransmitters. You have what we call, and I like to call the happy chemicals, the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, and the endorphin. These are your happy. I have a whole talk about these guys. We can do that one too next. It's a really fun one. So your gut and brain are connected through these neurotransmitters. They are produced in the brain to control the feelings and emotions. So these neurotransmitters, they contribute to feelings like happiness, and they also help you control your body clock. Interesting enough, many of these transmitters are also produced by your gut cells and the trillions of microbes living there. A large proportion of serotonin is produced in the gut. So your gut microbes also produce neurotransmitter called the GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid. This helps control feelings of fear and anxiety. Studies in laboratory mice have shown that certain probiotics can increase the production of GABA and reduce anxiety problems like depression and depression-like behavior. So this is why a lot of the I'm going to give you an example in a minute when we talk about the prio, and it has to do with me. It's a personal testimonial. So gut microbes affect inflammation. Your gut-brain axis is also connected through the immune system. Gut and gut microbes, they play an important role in your immune system and inflammation by controlling what is passed into the body and what is excreted. We talked about that yesterday. If your immune system is switched on for too long, it can lead for inflammation, which is associated with a number of brain disorders like depression or Alzheimer's. So it's like running all the time, right? This is just, you can't, your immune system is supposed to generate a response. But if your response is there for too long, this is why it says if your immune system is switched on for too long, then it can cause the inflammation. So this is why stress, Melissa was talking about Renewal, and Renewal is one of the products that we talk about reducing the stress, the daily stress of life. So when you have daily stress, it is normal to have certain inflammation. It can be inflammation in your hands if the stress is because you type too much. It can be inflammation that is, in your back, or it can be stress that is generated by being too long in the traffic, having too many projects, having too many things to do at the same time. So all these regular stresses in life, we can control them. And also, taking a product like Renewal can support to lower the levels of the stress. However, when it becomes too much or chronic or uncontrollable, that's when people go into brain disorders like depression or anxiety, or even worse, Alzheimer's and all of the Alzheimer family. So you see here in the chart, this is early, I'm going to start with immune function, defense, and tolerance, right? So the immune function is always identifying, should I defend myself from things that are coming or that are in my body, or should I tolerate the food that we're ingesting? So we talked about that yesterday too. Sometimes when you become intolerant, or even worse, what was the word I had yesterday? When your body does not accept it at all, and it becomes now an allergy or an autoimmune problem, or in a chronic problem. So everything is a cycle from early life gut and microbiota development. It goes into digestion and absorption, which was our talk yesterday, and then it's your metabolism. And again, if it doesn't have the correct role, then your metabolism can go haywire, and you can have, a slow metabolism or too fast, which both will be problems. You have to have a balanced immune system. The other thing that it does is gut-brain crosstalk. So it can tell your brain, I am full. That's satiety. Satiety, I can't pronounce that word. Satiety, which is the feeling of feeling full. So it actually tells the brain, I don't need to eat anymore. I feel that is enough for what I needed. Or your mood, or your pain. Let's talk about LPS. LPS, lipopolysaccharide, is an inflammatory toxin made by a certain bacteria. It can cause inflammation if too much of it passes from the gut into the blood. This can also happen when the gut barrier becomes leaky, which allows bacteria and LPS to cross over into the blood. Inflammation and high LPS in the blood have been associated with a number of brain disorders, including severe depression, dementia, and schizophrenia. So let me explain this in my own words. We have a gut lining, and the gut lining, if we are healthy and we have eaten healthy and done exercise, and not a lot of toxicity, our gut lining should not be compromised. But we know that many of us, and I include myself, I used to smoke and drink, and I had a terrible diet, and I used to exercise, but that wasn't enough because I had all the other bad habits. That actually made my gut barrier, very thin. And so what happens, and that was the testimonial, maybe I can say it here, as you're aging, your gut lining or your gut barrier becomes thinner, and the response of your immune system is faster. And it can become, I can't find another word, but annoying, because I'll give you the example. I have allergies. I've had other things. I've had ulcers, and I've had a hiatal hernia. And thanks to God and transfer factor and everything that I do to take care of myself. I don't have it anymore. I don't have any ulcers. All of that is gone. But what I do have is a compromised gut barrier. And the reason I know that was the testimonial, I'm going to put it in right now, is that I've had a lot of allergies through my lifetime since I was 12. And then when I found transfer factor, it was able to balance my immune system and I was allergy free for 10 years. And so, and Bernadette, I think you know that your mom, that was one of the reasons that she actually joined for life with me because she had a lot of allergies. And when she started taking transfer factor, it also became a helper. And so what transfer factor does is it regulates your body so that it can do the job that it's supposed to do. In the case of somebody with an autoimmune, like an allergy, what it will do is tell the body to stop reacting as fast as it does to an invader. In this case, my case was I'm allergic to dust mite. So dust mites are everywhere, which means I'm allergic to everything. That's why it was a hyperactive system. So maybe depending on the level of hyperactivity, your histamine is going to your lining gives the signal too fast to the histamine to go uh, up, and it gets confused, and so the allergy actually can come back, which is what happened to me. So one of my for life doctors, my for life friends, he said I should actually be treating myself not only with transfer factor trifactor, which I tripled the dose, and I said, okay, you know what, it did it before, it's going to do it again. So all I did was try and control my immune system by increasing 3 times the amount of transfer factor regular that I was taking. But he said, I am going to put you on a stress formula, and I need you to take reflection, sleep right, and renewal. Because what's happening is that your gut barrier probably is taking a hit because you're probably over worrying about something. I said, I'm not over worrying about anything. I'm like in the calmest moment of my life. And he said, well, your body doesn't seem to think so. And so that's why I wanted to kind of tie my testimonial into this situation because it's what is happening here. So I don't know if it's a certain bacteria. I don't know if it's LPS. Something may be happening and something is making the bacteria, like I'd like to call it, opportunistic bacteria, go and party. And so what it does is it creates that leaky gut. Leaky gut is also a very good topic that we can talk after. So let's summarize this. Your gut and brain are connected physically through millions of nerves. So most importantly, the vagus nerve. The gut and its microbes also control inflammation and make many different compounds that can affect brain health. So we're going to look at the picture, the gut-brain axis. You have your gut and your microbiota. So influences on weight gain, how your bowel movements are, nutrient delivery, and microbial balance. And on the other side, you can have the influence of the brain with your neurotransmitters, which we talked about, your stress, your anxiety, your mood, and your behavior. So you definitely are what you eat. So everything that you're putting in your mouth could be actually affecting. We have an epidemic of people with anxiety and depression that could later in life turn to an Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. And a lot of these are now tied to a bad gut, to simply people that have not eaten properly for the past 20 years, the past 2 or 3 decades, people that are still not eating what they should, taking good care of the nutrition and the absorption of the food that they're intaking. And this is why the epidemic is not going away unless we start doing and taking care of what we need. Then it's going to continue. So the first thing we need to do just to close up is focus on your microbiome. So microbiome loves good food. And I always say the less steps that you can count from the farm to your mouth. So if you're going to have an egg and you can get it from a farm, or you can get it from a, free run. Yes, they're more expensive, but there's a reason for that. Good quality organic food, and also you can make a lot of the probiotic food, like kefir, or Kawinder does a lot of probiotic food. You can do the sauerkraut, or you can do the pickled cucumbers that you actually took from your own home. You can grow your own tomato even if you're in an apartment, you know that? So aim for 4 servings of fresh veggies a day. Yes, a day. I told my mom yesterday, she was eating well. My mom's eating a lot better now. And so she's having an egg with a something from our country we call arepa. It's a cornbread and a nice cup of coffee with, now she changed to almond milk, which I'm pretty happy because she was having like another terrible selection of coffees. But I was so happy, and I said, and where are the vegetables? Why are you not putting vegetables in your breakfast? So it is very important that the 4 meals you have, you should be actually eating every 3 to 4 hours. They all have good fresh veggies in protein and fats, all of them in a good balance. You can cook them, you can eat them raw. And yes, raw, we talked about it yesterday with the digestive enzyme stock, but also the fiber that is so needed for your stool. No fiber, no poop. Number 3, drink water, but don't drink water with your meals. Drink water 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after. Slow down and chew. We had to talk about this. Mindfulness of the food. 20 minutes. Kawinder's the queen of this. She always used to tell me, you eat so fast. Slow down. Enjoy your meal. It takes 20 minutes, by the way, for your food to go down all the way to your stomach, and start the process of getting all mushed up. So slow down, limit artificial sugars and inflammatory oils, use more herbs. You can do them at home. The herbs, just create a little organic garden. Work on daily pooping. I like this one. A lot of people, they're very embarrassed, and that's why I put the chart. Your poop should actually be coming out like this, like a nice soft sausage. If your poop, my mom used to have type 1, and I never knew. You don't talk about these things. One day the doctor shows her a chart like this, and she's like, oh my gosh, I never knew. I've always pooped like this. And she was pooping like number 1, and that's not good. Now, if it's forming up a little more, it's a little bit better, but you should actually strive to be number 4, like a nice long soft sausage. There's nothing wrong with talking about poop and asking your family members. People laugh because I ask people all the time. Type 5 is a little bit too loose. Now you have it really loose, and this one definitely you got to go see the doctor. You can't be having watery poop all the time. And how do you fix that? Same thing, probiotics and prebiotics. Eat a diverse range of foods, manage stress levels, and identify and limit food allergies. So that's a little bit your training on gut health and gut brain connection. And so let's talk about microbiome and probiotics really quickly. We talked about digestive enzymes yesterday, and today I wanted to focus a little more on the pre-O. So I'm not going to give you a whole talk on pre-O. It's just that knowing that it's so important for your emotions to have healthy microbiome, you want to tie it to all your clients, how important prebiotic is in your daily intake. So prebiotic is not just a probiotic, it's a symbiotic. Prebiotic and probiotic in one, it's called a symbiotic. So when you're talking to people and they're saying, oh my, but it's a little pricey for 15 sticks, it's not pricey, because in another place you would have to buy the prebiotic and the probiotic plus the added benefit of the transfer factor. So why did For Life create this symbiotic and added transfer factor to it? Because now we have it and it's tested. You can check online on your app. It's tested that the probiotic, I think I still have my phone and I can show, oh no, it lost the battery. The transfer factor, what it does is it works as a prebiotic in this case. So the little capsules And that's for the ladies I don't know. Ana Maria and Bernadette I know, but I don't know if she's already trying the prebiotic. The little balls, you're not supposed to chew them because the probiotic is in the balls, in the little microcapsules. These microcapsules for life, actually, they invested a lot of money in these microcapsule. It has 3 layers. And so when you feel them in your mouth, you kind of want to bite them if you're like me and you eat them directly. And you don't bite them. If you bite them, then you're putting the probiotic in your mouth, which is still good, but that's not the intention of it. Thank you, Rita. So when you're putting it in your mouth, you feel the little balls, you swallow with water. I like to eat it without water. It's dessert for me. So what is happening is that the microcapsule is designed for it to go all the way down to your colon with that, and it resists the acid of the stomach. So when it gets to your colon and now it finally opens, the prebiotic has done the job because it's food to this bacteria. So we have 5 of the best strands. You can read them: lactobacillus, bifidobacillus. They're very good strands. And once the prebiotic and the transfer factor work together to populate, listen to this, 867 times better than if you didn't have the transfer factor. So picture this. You're putting, seed in a garden, and you're putting the best fertilizer in that garden. So by doing that, what is happening is that fertilizer is going to blossom all those, seeds that you harvested, that you planted, and your harvest will be nice and full. So that's what the transfer factor does. It's just going to populate really fast all this wonderful bacteria that you just put in your gut. And so that's why it's so fantastic, our prebiotic. And that's kind of where I wanted to, get you to understand why our probiotic is unique. It is the only one in the market that has transfer factor. And so if you learn to explain this to people, there's no way they go buy it somewhere else, because you don't have to refrigerate it. It tastes delicious. You only need one every other day. That's why they're in boxes of 15. Once you have done your first treatment of at least, depends on what people have, if they have indigestion or they're trying to deal with something. But where I'm going at is we have, but I'm recording this. I better not say this. I'll stop the recording and tell that testimonial, because then if I put it on YouTube, they're going to make me cut it. I'll tell you that testimonial in a minute. Remind me. So my point is, don't be afraid to offer prebiotic to absolutely everybody. You don't know who's suffering moods and mood swings and depression and anxiety and all the many, many gut situations that a bad balance in your microbiome brings. But again, today was more about what if you could give a friend prebiotic and this gets better. See? Because once you are able to fix your gut, the ACEs is going to help the response of those neurotransmitters and the response of your metabolism and everything that we read and that we were talking about work the way that it needs to work, with the added benefit that it now has transfer factor. So probiotics are something that are very in, but now you have the best one in your hand to show your customers. So thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording so I can tell you the testimonial. Meet us here every Tuesday. Check with your friends or in the chat the links